Welcome back to Melbourne.
Thanks, Phil.
Can I ask you about the cabinet documents?
Okay.
Um,
The one that we rang?
Mate, whenever, on the rare occasion when I come into possession of property that I know belongs to somebody else, my first thought is how can I get it back to the rightful owner? Did anyone at the ABC contact the government and say, look, we've got some documents, do you want to make arrangements for us to return them to you?
Look, I think that's misunderstanding the role of a journalist. You'll have to ask the people involved, but I mean that's not the nature of journalism.
Okay. Look, I read where some of the documents
we're very. I think the ABC was very careful with the documents.
I understand some of them were.
You understand that some of them
were retrieved from separate ABC offices. Do you know whether they were delivered originally to separate ABC offices or were they split up after the ABC obtained them?
No idea.
Okay. Thanks, mate. Good on you. Yeah. Bill Thompson for Outside Insiders. I'd hope to have a little bit more time to chat with the Insiders guests this morning, but I'm grateful to Andrew for sparing me a moment. Those are, I think, a couple of important questions, and I appreciate the ABC has a function of informing the public, but I also think that ABC staff, as any other citizen of Australia, has ethical obligations to their other fellow citizens in other fashions, and I think it's a perfectly reasonable observation that people who come into the possession of other people's property, knowing it to belong to someone else, do have an ethical obligation, and I understand in some circumstances there's even a legal obligation. I've heard of a term stealing by finding, which I think applies in circumstances where if you innocently find something and turn it to your own personal benefit, action can be taken against you. And I think it would probably be arguable that the ABC used the information that came into its possession to firstly launch a report maligning the Abbott government and purportedly suggesting that their actions in considering a proposal in relation to the 2014 budget may have been problematic. The next story that they featured was in relation to Scott Morrison's actions, and they did finally get around to Kevin 07 with his activities, alleged activities, and my understanding is that Ruddy's not particularly happy with their ABC in the manner in which they reported the references in the documents that related to him. So we'll see how that all plays out. But I'm intrigued at some of the ways in which their ABC chooses to carry out its role in informing the Australian public of news and current affairs. There was mention on the program this morning of supposed controversy over Australia Day. I was very much in favour of the plebiscite to determine the issue of same-sex marriage. I would be, if this is an issue that is of some concern to a reasonable proportion of Australians, then I think it's an appropriate issue that it might be resolved by putting it to a plebiscite. And my vague understanding is that there is supposed to be moves towards a referendum on recognising Aboriginals in the Constitution. If that progresses, maybe in an effort to save some money with a plebiscite, the plebiscite on the Changing Australia Day could be rolled into that proposed referendum. Bill Thompson for Outside Inside.